Hey, FootClan, before we get into the rest of the matchups for Week 11, I just want to remind you about the DFS Pass. If you're going to play some DFS on FanDuel, DraftKings, Draft this weekend, you want to head over to dfspass.com and get a leg up on the competition.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Play Draft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
It's Friday, and we're back once more, sharing this fine time with you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Andy, Mike, and Jason, Judge Giamatti behind the scenes, keeping us on track.
Keeps it clean.
You doing good there, Judge?
Yeah, it's not possible to keep you guys on track, though.
No! No, well, Mike and I are here.
Are you sure about that?
Oh! We're coming out the gates with that?
You know, it was so popular 2 shows ago. I had so many ringtone requests. If you were on YouTube, the dance moves were, I think I got compared to Chandler Bing from Friends.
Accurate.
Accurate.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah.
Not a compliment.
Well, I've always known.
This is a compliment.
I've always known kind of our family. I think I've said this on the show long ago. We dance like very tall birds.
At least you didn't get like Elaine.
Oh yeah, the kick finger dance.
Oh yeah,
that's good stuff. Let's talk about Thursday night football. Let's talk about what we saw from this high-powered, incredible Pittsburgh offense that we've been waiting to see. We saw it last night, 3 touchdowns for AB. Hope you didn't trade him.
Yeah. Including a helmet catch.
Woo!
I mean, it was what was so strange about this game, 40 points for the Steelers. I didn't even think that Big Ben was playing particularly well. Like, just watching the game, I know his numbers, 30 for 45, that's solid, 66%, almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he had a fantastic game, but just the feeling out what the Steelers were doing on offense and the complete lack of ground game, only 12 carries for Le'Veon Bell.
I think there was 2 defining factors that made that game seem that way to you. Number 1 was the play where Lev Bell got in on the touchdown, then they reversed it, and he got this little dump. Like that's one of those goal line, play action, extra touchdowns. And that was on the heels of what we saw from Mariota, which was 4 turnovers in this game. A couple big ones, short fields for Big Ben. You're right about Lev Bell. I mean, they chose.
It was disappointing.
Dick LeBeau chose to stop that piece of the equation, which is, look, it's what you got to do. You got to put it in the hands of Big Ben, who's looked really sluggish this year.
Well, not only that, but if you look at how they came out, they were expecting the Dick LeBeau blitzes. Obviously, being at home in Pittsburgh, they come out, they go no huddle, and during the no huddle, they look great. They drive down the field, they stop that, and for the rest of that first half, they're not moving the ball. Second half, they come back out and they go back to it, and they're able to move the ball. And this is a big reason why Big Ben at home versus Big Ben on the road makes a difference, is because of communication. They're able to get to the line quicker, have Big Ben talk, have communication that he has with, you saw him calling out plays at the line of scrimmage to Juju, or same with Antonio Brown. And I think that, this is what you'll see more of, but only at home. Because when they go on the road, they will have to focus more on Le'Veon Bell and the huddle.
Lev Bell, obviously, he had the touchdown called back. You're still happy with Antonio Brown in this game. And I want to the Juju truthers out there, which I am one of, and Jason is definitely one of, I want you to not be alarmed by this not being an incredible performance. Because if you watch the game, I loved seeing where Ben was looking to Juju, where he was in the read progression, had an end zone target broken up, had a pass interference call on a play that could have been a big play, had a couple misconnections, but the target count was there.
Caught another ball at like the 2-yard line for a first down.
Exactly. So I was actually really happy with the utilization. It was an underwhelming performance, but you're going to get that from everybody. And so I would have been more concerned if I saw Martavis Bryant have a monster game last night. I'm not as concerned about Juju, but obviously you're disappointed. And on the other side,
So speaking of disappointment,
if you're not a Rashard Matthews owner, that's where the list ends, right, on the Tennessee side?
yeah, yes, because it was Mariota actually still finished with an okay fantasy game despite 4 interceptions. I mean, like, not great, but I'm saying despite having 4 picks, you're going, whew, I think I dodged a bullet here with Marcus Mariota last night.
I doubt you're playing him with them on the road in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh on
just
Thursday.
Some people, they're forced into a position where you got to play him. But DeMarco Murray, 8 for 10 on the ground. Now he kind of bailed fantasy owners out with the 5 receptions, so you have to feel like you dodged another bullet with that. But what DeMarco Murray? What is happening here? You have Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry looked better. Looked a lot better in this game, 7 for 32, including 2, off the top of my head, 2 bigger runs.
Here's the equation. If this team is in the position where, we saw it last week, DeMarco Murray had the touchdowns that saved his fantasy week. If this team is down and they're throwing, you're never going to see Derrick Henry. He's not going to be anywhere to be seen. You watched this game last night, it turned into a laugher. And it was every third down is DeMarco Murray, even on drives where they give first and second down to Henry, third down still DeMarco Murray. And then on drives where they're coming back, they need the pass catching ability of DeMarco Murray in there. They actually started out the game lining him up as a wideout, throwing him the ball, and then he dropped it.
I think I have found my new favorite thing in the NFL, because this is being brought up a lot, I feel like, in broadcasts. Like, well, this team isn't built to play from behind. They're only, they're built to have the lead and then win. You're like, how about you build your team that you can play from both?
Right.
I mean, is that really that bold of an idea?
We can only win if we're winning the whole time.
We're going all in on only being able to win if we score first.
So
that's a bad idea.
I mean, that was kind of the lay of the land from last night. Moving forward, I'm still a much bigger DeMarco Murray fan than I am Derrick Henry.
Agreed. I'm also a much bigger Corey Davis fan than I am Rashard Matthews, despite what I saw last night.
It was
the 75-yard touchdown.
When we got to that, when we got to that play, which I kind of have a love-hate situation going on with the new camera. All right, from behind. So it's maybe it's just taking time to get used to it. But on that particular play, I believe it was Corey Davis, but I saw him running an in route in the middle. I'm like, Corey Davis is wide open. What are you doing? Throw the ball. But then, of course, Mariota saw that the safety there was no high safety, so Rashard Matthews got hit for the deep touchdown.
Last question here about Thursday night. Skycam nearly the whole time. Do you like Skycam?
That's what I'm saying. It's the love-hate. I think once they perfect it, once they're like, because I mean these camera people are trying to get used to doing this as well. Where I don't want it zoomed in where the wide receivers
you can't
are
see
cut
the outside
off.
wideouts. Yep, that's exactly my problem.
Yeah,
but I love it.
And I did see a few times where the camera went in, but then you saw like they realized, oh, I need to back up so we can get a full frame of view.
I really like watching it live,
both,
but I like when the replays they show us kind of that above view. I didn't like the replays where they still were focused on that zoomed in view.
To truly maximize it, they're going to have to be able to, I think, mid-play, be able to go. You're like, okay, we've got the lined up. We're seeing the play form. Now the decision is made. The ball is going somewhere. Change to that side camera. So, but that's really tough on a director and a producer.
It took it takes 280 man hours each week to set up and run that thing for a game.
Wow.
So mistakes were made, NFL.
Yeah,
you were living the dream.
Did you guys know it was Friday?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
FootClan Friday.
Every Friday, we want to take a minute and thank all of our incredible supporters over at jointhefoot.com. You guys are what make this show exist. You're the backbone of everything we do. And every Friday, we like to give away a gift card, shopballers.com, to one of those supporters. And today's winner is Michael Henson.
Oh, Michael Henson, come on down.
Come on down. $40 gift card to shopballers.com. Thank you so much for your support. And we're going to keep doing what we do because we love it. And hopefully you love it as well. We're always listening, trying to make the show better. You can find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com. You can find our community at jointhefoot.com. And we always appreciate the iTunes reviews and your support over there wherever you're listening. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Surprise, surprise.
Shaka.
Puppy surprise.
That's what I was hearing in my
You were
head
hearing
as
that?
well.
Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald, 1-year extension through 2018.
I am shocked.
This is, if I have to project now, next year for the Arizona Cardinals, Dynasty Leagues, things like that, it's Larry, Palmer, David Johnson,
You
Bruce
think Palmer
Arians.
will be back?
I think the entire crew is coming back for another year.
I agree.
That's what this. Why would Larry sign on to be a part of a Blaine Gabbert experiment or a rookie quarterback? This is, hey, this is a lost season,
Right.
and they may not even view it that way at 4-5. But this is a lost season. We're going to come back here with all the pieces that brought us success in the past. We're going to give it another go. I don't see any other reason Larry would come back, and he's playing at an all-pro level still. I mean, he's 1,200-yard pace. A monster with the ball in his hands. I think it's exciting if you're an Arizona fan to see Larry come back, but the rebuild's not going to happen for another year.
And also with this comes you know it's important, but also wink, wink, it's not important. Assuming health for Larry Fitzgerald, he will end up as the number 2 all-time in receiving yards.
Wow.
Like he'll have enough time to get up there. I mean, he's not going to pass the GOAT, Jerry Rice, because nobody will ever pass Jerry Rice. But Larry Fitzgerald can make a strong stamp at number 2.
Yeah, Jerry Rice is the Nolan Ryan. No one's breaking Nolan Ryan's strikeout record, and Jerry Rice is going to be hard to break that.
Stop talking baseball.
Hey.
Yeah, you could have gone with like Emmitt Smith, that no one's going to break his rushing record.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Someone might.
We're back on track.
All right. Alex Collins is going to remain the feature back, even when Terrance West and Danny Woodhead return.
That is according to the offensive coordinator from the Baltimore Ravens, and I think it's the right play. That's what I've been expecting and calling for. What that does mean is that should those players return, it's probably worse news for Buck Allen than it is for Alex Collins.
All right. We talked a little bit about the situation with Leonard Fournette. We're going to talk about injuries and whether we think they're going to be in and out right now. Kind of an interesting piece of news that broke. A funny quote from Fournette, so we'll get into that.
What's it going to be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Phillip Rivers?
He's in. He practiced in full on Thursday, still in the concussion protocol. But if you're practicing in full, that means you're on track to clear it.
Drew Stanton, Deshaun Kaiser?
Stands out. It's the blonde bombshell, Blaine Gabbert. He's going against the Houston Texans. Kaiser has practiced in full. I mean, he came basically right back in after the bruised ribs, coming off possibly you'd say his best game as a pro?
I would say definitely his best game.
So he's going to play. He will start.
All right, Fournette.
Yeah,
we're
I haven't
expecting
heard
him
this
to play,
quote.
right? Here's the quote. He says he's not looking forward to playing in the cold weather. I hate the cold, period. I sleep in the heat. That's just how I grew up. Mentally, I'm just trying to get my mind ready. It's the little things. You take a little hit in the cold and it hurts. I wouldn't mind if it wasn't cold.
Wow, that sounds
well, one, congratulations, Leonard Fournette, for being drafted by Jacksonville then.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if like
the Buffalo Bills select Leonard Fournette.
no!
Speaking of, this is good timing, actually. Fournette is not practicing today. There's a report.
Yep. I talked about this a little bit on the DFS show, which Fantasy Footballers DFS podcast that's available. The new episode came out today. There's something weird going on with Leonard Fournette. I know that last week they called it a violation of team rules or whatever.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
But, I mean, we're going on over a month now of this ankle injury where he could have gone back in. Sure, he could have gone back in.
That's why he missed the
he's
following week's game.
Yeah, that's why he's missed a month, and he's still missing practice.
Are you
with that
raising
ankle.
your threat level for him missing this game?
I don't know if I'm going to put it at a miss, but this is exactly why I talked about Blake Bortles as my start of the week, that they will be forced to use him far more than they want to as a team.
Coming to fruition here. Ty Montgomery, in or out?
I'm going out.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to play. Danny Woodhead, any new information? Brooks, have you seen anything about Woodhead's status? That seems to be one we're in the dark on.
They have done a good job keeping that under wraps. I haven't been able to find anything of note, which leads me to believe he will be out. I would expect to hear things if he was practicing in a meaningful, full participant way, getting first-team reps, getting those beat reporters would be letting us know.
Yeah, I checked in with the bushes.
Oh yeah,
for some whispers. I've heard nothing.
Devonta Freeman,
and not expected to play.
Out.
Yep.
Isaiah Crowell, in or out? He's had a shoulder injury, a couple days of limited practice.
Yeah, I believe that he will play.
Eddie Lacy.
Oh,
Monday Night Football game. If of all the things in my life, I don't want to lean on Eddie Lacy on Monday Night Football with an injury update.
I agree. I wouldn't want to do it. And
I think this is actually more.
Let's say you had Thomas Rawls.
That's more impactful for people with Rawls.
If you had Rawls and then you're waiting for Monday night.
Find a different option.
Well, okay. But let's say you can't. Would you then, with an active Eddie Lacy, would you then play Lacy over Rawls if he was active?
Yes, I would. If they're both active, I'm playing Lacy for sure.
That seems like a situation some people
Also, you have gone all in on the Seahawks. Mistakes were made.
Yeah, your season is over. It doesn't matter. Just keep listening so that you can get information for next year.
I saw somebody who heard you say, if Chris Thompson's your RB1, you're not making the playoffs.
Oh, I knew I'd get what.
And they said, watch me. They said, I'll be back. Just wait. So we'll see if they're right. Wide receivers laundry list here. Let's go quick. Alshon Jeffrey.
In.
Demaryius Thomas.
In.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones is back to his not practicing, but in.
Marquise Lee.
Same thing as Julio, but I'm going to say in.
Alan Hearns.
No, I don't think he'll play.
Kenny Stills.
He got injured in practice. He's expected to play, but whenever there's an injury in practice, you always need to keep a special eye on it. Not that very many people are rolling Stills out as a wide receiver 3.
Right.
Amendola and Hogan.
Amendola, I would expect. Chris Hogan, I would not.
I agree.
Will Fuller, out?
Yeah, he's definitely out.
John Brown.
He didn't practice again Thursday. If he plays, because of this injury, I'm not going to play him, but I think he might miss.
Jordan Reed?
He's a game-time decision. The last thing I had seen on Jordan Reed was that he had the setback and that he has pain when decelerating. So,
well, if you just get tackled, you don't really ever have to decelerate on your
Jordan
own.
Jordan Reed, you go full speed all the time.
Yeah,
you're like the bus from Speed.
It's drop and roll. That's what you got to do. You don't slow your legs down. You just fall and come to a skidding stop.
Yes, exactly. If you have
I can't slow
similar
down.
to the Thomas Rawls, Eddie Lacy, if you have Jordan Reed and you have Vernon Davis, and you have both of them, and Jordan Reed is active, I'm still playing Vernon Davis for sure.
We got an update yesterday that Tyrone Smith is going to be out. Left tackle extraordinaire for the Dallas Cowboys.
What does this do for your Cowboy projections, Jason?
It certainly hurts. It moves Dak down a little bit. However, I don't think people need to overreact and expect what happened last week. Chaz, the backup, is now again the backup.
Typical Chaz.
Okay, he has been demoted, and he is not going to be the guy out there now.
Well, who's going to be out?
No. You might say exactly. Well, who's that means the third stringer who
couldn't pass him on the depth chart.
Chaz. Promise you, he's better. I make a solemn swear he's better. There's just no possible way he is as bad as what we saw from Bad Chaz.
Bad Chaz.
Bad Chaz.
Here's the circumstance that exists in this game. Two ways to look at it. The one thing we do know is Dak Prescott, it's all on his shoulders, right? And that can be good and bad in fantasy. You put a guy in that position where everything's on his shoulders, you may get Dak out of the pocket more. You may have him, having to escape, run, use his legs, great for fantasy, use his arm, great for fantasy. You can't lean on the running game. Those narratives. And then you saw last week where under fire, sacked a lot, drives got stopped, so you didn't have scoring opportunities. It's all on Dak. And I would still put my fantasy chips on Dak. This is a divisional game. He has the ability to perform at an MVP type of level, and I'm going to put my chips on that. And then, like you said, maybe they go down from giving up 6 sacks on that side to 2. That'd be a nice 2 drives that don't get destroyed.
A quick idea for the coaching staff in Dallas. Put the running back on the left side.
Right.
Slow down, Mike. Slow down.
Or maybe put a tight end on the left side.
Slow down. I don't understand this system you're describing.
Look, there has to be something that we don't know about.
I would go with a 6-man O-line.
There has to be something we don't know about why they didn't do that last week, but it just seems
it looked like a game plan they locked in on because they thought they'd be okay, and then they did not adjust.
After like the 4th sack, Chad's like, no, guys, I promise I got this.
Don't forget, all these in and outs.
Guys, I promise.
We'll have updates.
This time.
On Sunday morning. Mike is on Periscope on Sunday morning. We also have updates, game day alerts at jointhefoot.com. We're keeping you in the know, and that's the difference between winning and losing.
Wait, I think I figured him out. Nope.
Guys, this is the time. Whoop. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Dak.
Sorry. Hey, we want to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring the show. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service. They shop, they plan, they deliver. They make cooking easy because with HelloFresh, all the ingredients are delivered right to your door in a recyclable, insulated packaging. Comes pre-measured. They make it very easy. They offer a wide variety of chef-curated recipes that change weekly, including the classic plan. This comes with a wide variety of meat, fish, produce. The veggie plan, vegetarian recipes with plant-based proteins. The family plan, quick and easy meals the whole family will love. Better yet, you can choose a delivery day that works best for your busy schedule. You can even pause your account for weeks at a time if you need to. HelloFresh makes it so easy to cook delicious, balanced dinners for less than $10 a meal. No more time-consuming meal planning or grocery shopping. Enjoy not spending money on takeout for an easy night, not worrying about gathering ingredients week after week. We have all enjoyed HelloFresh. We've all had it.
No doubt.
We know that it makes everything easy. It's delicious. For $30 off your first week of HelloFresh, visit HelloFresh.com and enter the promo code Footballers30. That's $30 off your first week. HelloFresh.com, Footballers30.
And we also want to always remind you, especially this time of year, about FantasyChamps.com.
Fantasy Champs.
A great
I just made
partner.
that up for them.
Oh, that's a good jingle.
You leave the jingles to this guy.
Okay, sorry.
You're going to have to come up with a jingle for
Fantasy Champs.
Oh, that was good, Mike. Where'd you come up with that?
Just off the top of the dome, man.
Incredible. I think Fantasy Champs is going to be really happy with that one. Look, Fantasy Champs are pretty much a synonym for listeners of the fantasy footballers, right? Because you're listening, you're going to go out and get your championship.
Hashtag FootClan title.
Hashtag FootClan. Yeah. Oh, I'm wearing my hashtag FootClan title shirt right now. Look, championship rings that are unbelievably great, and these display cases that look amazing. We have 6 of them in our shared office that we work in. These hot new gold championship belts that you can actually customize.
They're hot.
You want to put your name on it? Put your name on it. It is amazing. Go check it out. You'll love the stuff. You can use a promo code BALLERS for 10% off. If you're a fantasy champ, go to fantasychamps.com.
Fantasy Champs.
No, I like mine.
Fantasy Forecast.
Okay. If you missed any of the if you don't hear us talk about a game today, it's because we talked about it yesterday. Yesterday was the first half of the matchup, so if you missed it, go back, listen to that episode, and you'll be all caught up with all the important matchups, start-sit decisions for those games. The Chiefs, 6-3. They head to the reeling Giants. They're 10.5-point road favorites.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to be ugly?
Yeah, I do believe it's going to be ugly. This is a all Chiefs situation.
Start them all.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt. I honestly think that all the people who are freaking out about Kareem Hunt, and you're like, oh, the numbers are going down. He's not scoring touch. I think this is the week that people can shut up about that.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt this week is both of our #1 running backs, so I agree. I mean, you were going to start him no matter what, but this is a truly get-right.
Both of our being you and Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
I was following
I don't think the
Mike
podcast could see who you're looking at. So I just
Sure. But, yes, Mike and
Mike
and I both have Kareem Hunt #1.
All 2 of us here at the studio, we really we have him up.
The whole group of Mike and I,
yes,
the entirety. No, I think this is going to be a good offensive output for Kansas City. the New York Giants just have not looked good. Now
their defensive tackle, while he returned to practice, has been dealing with injuries. I mean, it could just get even worse for the Giants.
Now on the Giants side, you do have the #1 target at the tight end position, and that's Evan Ingram. 72 targets, most in the NFL this year. You expect him to be involved in this game, Sterling Shepard, then be able to do enough against Kansas City?
Absolutely. I think that there's fantasy points to be had for the Giants. When we say it's going to be ugly, we're just talking about the actual NFL game.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay. Were you going to say something about the Chiefs?
I was actually going to say something about the weather. This is another one of those games that is over 15-mile-an-hour winds, so is what's being projected, which, that's great for the Kareem Hunts of the world. Even I would say when you look at someone like Tyreek Hill, who is used to taking those kind of crossing routes or finding a seam where he'll get the ball 10 yards down the field and then he'll run the additional 70. I think that could work in Kansas City's favor.
Eli Manning starting stream of the week for me this week, so I think it's just going to be opportunity for him to throw the ball, probably some garbage time, and I think 250 and 2 is something you can get away with there.
I also think you need to stay with Orleans Darkwa.
Do you? I was just going to say I would probably look for a different option. If Dark was like that third running back who you're kind of playing matchups with, I would prefer not to play him this week.
That's
why is
that's
that?
The way I lean as well, because he will not be on the field in comeback situations as much as Shane Vereen was last week, and I don't expect him to have a lot of opportunity in that first half. If you get a couple long Kansas City drives, you're going to be sitting in the second quarter with 2 carries from Orleans Darkwa and worrying about that.
It's about the Chiefs' defense. They're allowing the 7th fewest points to the running back position for fantasy. So that combined with the game script I'm expecting for the Chiefs, that just steers me away from Darkwa.
Well, then we agree.
To disagree?
To disagree.
Okay.
How much do you disagree?
My point is that I think
how much do you disagree?
I disagree to the point that Orleans Darkwa is someone that you can start and get near 10 fantasy points that's what I see.
Wow, near 10?
Yeah, I mean, if you look, let me read his fantasy points.
Oh, he's been great.
14.5, 15.5. Then he had his one down game was still 7.2. Then 10.5, 13.2. This is a guy where you still have so much going on where you go, I can't bank on Orleans Darkwa. The running game for the Giants is bad. The Giants' offense is bad. But the reality is he has been good for this system.
I've been all aboard.
Yeah, so you just think the Kansas City Chiefs defense
yes.
is the reason you can't play him?
Yes. Are we still talking about Orleans Darkwa?
We are.
Okay,
we
cool.
are.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Darkwa life, man.
The Darkwa life.
Darkwa duck.
Whoa. What?
No?
Darkwa duck, huh?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to make the Darkwing Duck Orleans Darkwa thing. I've never had the guts to do it because I knew how bad it would sound.
I remember the theme song.
Daring Duck of Miss. Come on, fellas.
Mike remembers.
My children asked for that on Alexa.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then we all have a Disney dance party.
All right.
All right.
And if you've seen my dance moves for Devin Scrumptious, just translate that for 2 minutes of Darkwing Duck.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are 1-point home favorites in this game. We get to see this impressive Miami offense once more.
Impressive.
Right now, the Buccaneers defense, I think they surprised people last week. I know that the numbers are bad over the course of the year, but you do have to, at this point in the season, you do have to be aware of these micro trends with teams and with defenses where we saw Houston, right, a couple of years ago be the absolute worst defense for the first half of a season and the best defense for the second half. I'm not saying anything like that about Tampa, but last week we expected Josh McCown to be streamable. We expected the Bilal Powell to be able to run the ball against Tampa. None of that happened. The Dolphins' offense struggles. So I'm a little bit curious to see what happens here. I would not I'm not going to over-project Miami. I'm actually going to pump the brakes a little bit on the upside of these players. I know, Jason, you made Devontae Parker your start of the week. I don't really have any problems with that. It's just
Jay Cuddy has 2 passing touchdowns in the last 4 games, at least.
He has worked his career into the point where we are very enthusiastic about that happening.
Because that's pretty nice 4 straight games with the
Yeah, but they got boat raced last game, and he is the garbage man this year when it comes to production, like fantasy value and
garbage
production.
supreme.
And obviously it all counts. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I think that the defense for the Buccaneers after last week, the offense for the Dolphins, what we've seen, I'm a little worried that this is going to be a tough go.
All right.
Yeah, I'm more curious. It was last week the Buccaneers that were shutting down Josh McCown, or was it more the weather?
Yep.
And so that's where it's like, this is, clear skies, no wind. This should be a chance.
Fournette would love it.
I think for Parker and Landry, Kenyon Drake. I'm not building the Dolphins up here to where I think these guys are all like, oh, you got to get them in your lineup. Kenyon Drake is that borderline. It's an okay play if you need to play him. A little lower down for Damian Williams. You definitely are starting though Parker and Landry. I think those two
over
are
under
must-starts.
17 points for the Dolphins in this game.
Over.
I'll take the over.
You guys want the
I
water
want
bet?
that on a water
Yes.
Water bet.
17's a push. Over.
Yes.
You win. Under.
Yes.
I'm getting wet.
Certainly.
All right.
2-time.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You can stream him.
Doug Martin.
What is going on with Doug
20
Martin?
carries last week. You got to roll him out there against the 24th ranked fantasy defense, giving up 21.9 points to the running back position. I think you can roll him out. I'd rather play him than the Rawls-Lacey situation. I'd rather play him than Javorius Allen.
Okay.
You have named 2 players I agree with. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but
you're right.
I'd rather play him than Rex Burkhead.
Oh, no way. Really?
I'd rather play him than James White.
I find those
it's really tough
interesting.
because Doug Martin has not played well, and he has not looked Doug Martin has always been an eyeball type player. When you watch him, you can see if he's running, if he's good or evil version of Doug Martin for your fantasy team.
I saw plays last week that were good Doug Martin. So I think we.
But my point is, in agreement with you, Andy, that when you've got a player getting 20 carries against a defense that looks like it's somewhat quitting and having a hard time to stop the run specifically, you're going to start Doug Martin over a lot of other parts. And I think you need that push because there's such a feeling as Doug Martin owners out there that say, I don't want to get Martined again. Martin!
Sure. And I looked at my rankings. I do have Martin ahead of those guys, including Rex Goathead.
We'd agree they got boat raced against New Orleans in New Orleans.
Sure.
2 weeks ago.
Sure.
8 for 7. That was the disastrous game. He was out for the fourth quarter. We didn't know if he was hurt. Last 4 weeks, other than that, 20 carries, 18 carries, 20 carries. I think you're going to see him in the 18 to 20 carry range. But it also,
If you're in a points per carry league,
Yeah,
that's going to help.
That's delightful. But okay, so like
okay, all right. I'm not
Doug Martin or the waiver pickups, Jamal Williams, Samaje P. Ryan. How is
Martin.
Martin above both of them?
I would.
Okay.
Evans, bounce back game for Evans.
Well, it bounces back from a suspension, yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, he'll have
So
a much better game this week.
The big zero
than
he
last.
took last week, yes.
Well, we saw Antonio Brown kind of return on the investment this past week.
Right.
I know that he's been good, but we hadn't seen the big Antonio Brown games. We haven't seen a lot of those from Mike Evans this year either. What you came to expect last year, I'm wondering if you expect that this game.
I'm expecting a solid game, not that Antonio Brown 3 touchdown game. The biggest question for me on the Tampa offense, I guess besides Doug Martin, the enigma that is Doug Martin, is Cameron Brate. Will he return to that 8-target, 9-target relevance or the past 2 weeks? I mean, 1 reception for 9 yards against New Orleans, 1 reception for 10 yards against the Jets. And
without Jameis Winston, I have less confidence that will happen, and you're almost in a reverse stay in the flame situation here with Cameron Brate. I'd rather find a better option. That's my opinion.
sure.
I do love the matchup. I mean, the Dolphins are not good against the tight end. Cameron Brate has been very good all year, and you do have that game
Except
where
the past 2
Fitzpatrick,
weeks.
right, where Fitzpatrick was starting. But when Fitzpatrick came in relief due to the injury and played the majority of the game against the Cardinals, he used Cameron Brate a lot. So I don't think this is a situation, you've got 3 games, 1 where Brate was involved, 2 where he wasn't. This is a matchup where the tight end is a really nice option against Miami. So I would it was really tough for me deciding between Hunter Henry and Cameron Brate for my start of the week.
Ooh,
because
that much confidence.
I do have confidence in starting him. I think you need to. Now, I do go back and remember, it was Fitzpatrick with the New York Jets where they literally did not even remotely use a tight end, but that could have and probably was just the talent on the roster.
Yeah,
they
that's a Jason Morrow problem.
Yeah.
The Bills with Nathan Peterman behind center take on the Chargers, the 3-6 Chargers at home. Chargers are 4-point favorites in this one. The Bills are going the opposite direction of how they started this year, and I would like to be playing the Chargers defense this week.
Yeah.
As in starting them against the Bills on the road with a rookie quarterback. What are your favorite plays in this game? What are the guys you're avoiding?
Well, I mean, I did give the vote of confidence for Hunter Henry bouncing back from his 2 poor games against the Bills. So I'm fine starting him. I think Phillip Rivers is a very good start. Keenan Allen, those guys, I think you need to play every single week.
Right.
That's my take, just because of volume and talent.
Yeah, it's Melvin Gordon's really the only one I have confidence playing against the Bills. So because the volume will be there. The Bills, we just saw what happened to them against the Saints, and I mean this is a trend, right, for the Bills defense going back to last year, where Le'Veon Bell and Jay Ajayi had those monster 200-yard games against this Bills defense. So I think that they will lean a lot on Melvin Gordon, and maybe I pumped the brakes on Austin Eckler because I do believe he is just a handcuff. Maybe Melvin Gordon gets so much done that Eckler has value. But
wait. Did I hear you basically saying what a great play Melvin Gordon's going to be?
Yes, because of volume and against a bad defense.
Brooks, we need to clip this out and save it and put it everywhere for the masses to hear Mike's full endorsement of Melvin Gordon.
For fantasy purposes, absolutely.
Well, we are a fantasy football show, Mike.
You starting Keenan Allen?
Yes.
I'm starting him, but he's like a borderline 2-3 wide receiver for me.
Yeah, he seems to be there. He hasn't scored since week 1. Yeah. So he had that week 1, kind of got singed in your mind that, maybe Keenan Allen's back. He hasn't been back. He's been a piece of what we used to have, unfortunately.
I mean, he's consistent. He's good for your fantasy lineups, but he's just not giving you those 10+ targets or 10 reception games.
And as far as the wide receivers from the Buffalo side of the ball, someone will have a decent game, but I don't think you can possibly know who to start with a brand new quarterback.
My money's on
Benjamin
Kelvin.
Going to be the guy involved? Is it
That's where my money is. Zay Jones coming off an injury. Kelvin Benjamin, he was involved last week, and he's the big target. That's a friendly target for a rookie quarterback. So
can you start Charles Clay?
Sure. You could start Charles Clay.
Yeah, I think you can start him, but we don't know what to expect because it was Tyrod Taylor, Charles Clay connection.
This is like the beta test Bills this week because you're just with a new quarterback. I mean, I do expect LaShawn McCoy to be heavily involved. He's going to be helpful in the passing game. He's going to be the guy to take pressure off of the quarterback. But
it's basically hold your Bills week, other than Shady. Just
I would agree with that.
And bench him.
Hold on to your Bills.
Hold on to your Bills.
Well done. Hold on.
I always
to
like
your
jokes
Bills.
where Mike starts to crack a smile before he finishes it.
Well,
because he's discovering how good the joke is in his own head.
Yes.
The Bengals take on
guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Hilarious. Sorry.
Bengals, Broncos, 3-6 versus 3-6. The Broncos are 2.5-point favorites in Denver. 39-point over/under. Gross. AJ Green, he's averaged 77 receiving yards per game. That's 5th best in the league. Andy Dalton, he's getting sacked, the 5th most in the league. This has been a struggling offense. Are you okay playing AJ Green against that 5th-ranked fantasy defense in Denver?
Mm-hmm.
No problems there? No concerns?
Concerns, sure, but no
He's
problem.
AJ Green.
Yep.
Joe Mixon, he loves to give you about 10 fantasy points. He's not willing to give you more.
Man, disappointing.
But his floor is also surprisingly safe. If you look at what he's done, he doesn't have a high ceiling, but I feel like if you're not banking on him as your running back 1, if you've put him in that running back 2 or that flex role, usually you can do worse than that. I mean, he's been pretty consistent with Jeremy Hill on IR, with Gio Bernard kind of getting phased more and more out. I think Joe Mixon is a guy that you rely on, but you get rid of all the upside hope. When you're constructing your roster, you don't look at him as one of those solid pieces. You look at him as one of those safer, low ceiling pieces.
Compare him to the Jamal Williams, Samaje Perine. Who would you rather play of those three?
Out of those guys, I don't trust the Green Bay Packers offense as a whole right now, but I do like what's happening with the Washington offensive line. So I think I would probably be willing to put in Samaje.
Yeah, I would go Perine.
Of that group
over
of three.
Mixon?
Well, not against. I mean, against New Orleans though, over Mixon, I would not do that.
No,
I'd be playing Mixon. Then maybe, is a toss up between those other two.
I need to move Mixon down in my rankings.
Okay. On the other side, Brock Osweiler will be under center again. You could see some Paxton Lynch in this game, depending on how the game flow goes.
Or nice sideline shots too. You'll see them.
So I don't want to say three-headed monster because that makes it sound like it's been good. But what do you call C.J. Anderson, Devontae Booker, and Jamal Charles?
Three-headed worm.
Three-headed worm?
Just slithering and
just in three pieces?
Yeah. No,
like you cut a worm in threes and then they just kind of wiggle?
Yeah. Well, because if it's just one worm, if it was just C.J. Anderson, we could see some good things happening.
Yeah.
But it's a terrifying worm.
I don't want to touch it.
I will say this.
Exactly. Yeah. If you saw a worm with three heads,
you don't want to touch that.
You don't want to pick that up.
You don't want to.
Brooks, do you want to touch that? Would you get in on that?
I don't want to pick up just a worm. So
just a one-headed worm.
Brooks is not a fisherman, clearly.
Let me ask about
Good
this.
Good answer.
About this narrative. Do you think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be able to get out to a big lead against the Denver Broncos
out
defense?
The run?
Because I don't think so.
I think they'll probably win this game.
But my point is this: even with Brock Lesnar, goodness gracious,
how did you did it again?
Well, it's because look, Brock Lesnar is just so much of a superior athlete, and so my brain gives him all of the value of Brock.
He's the first chair Brock in your head.
He's the first chair Brock. Exact. Andy sees into my
Yeah,
skull.
I understand how you work.
There was a band challenge.
Right. And, that jazz flute. Oh. Brock Lesnar plays a mean jazz flute.
I will say
yes!
I will say I'm fairly confident that Brock Lesnar would win in a fight.
Yeah, for sure. But my point is that even with Brock at quarterback, I believe that this game script will be close enough for C.J. Anderson to get use maybe into the third and fourth quarter, which would be incredible because he's always been great in the first half and then they can't really use him. The Bengals have been a decent run defense, but they're middle of the pack. They're not, a top 10 type of defense. I think they're 18th against the running back. So if you are one of those C.J. Anderson owners where you never know whether to start him or sit him, last week we all knew to sit him. It was just a terrible matchup where you go, okay, the Eagles are going to be able to score, plus they're a great rushing defense. This week, I think you can start C.J. Anderson in that RB2-3 range.
All right, we need to move on. The Patriots take on the Raiders. I'm excited about this one. This is the game in Mexico City. We've talked quite a bit about it. The Raiders are 4-5. They're 6.5-point underdogs in the quote-unquote home game. But what I like is that 53.5-point over-under and the fantasy points that should be they should be prevalent. We expect a good game for fantasy owners. You're rolling out Tom Brady. You know that Gronkowski's getting the start. But when you sit down and you're making your start-sit decisions and you're staring down Deion Lewis, James White, Rex Burkhead, why don't you, Mike, put those guys in your preferred order in that backfield?
I would go Burkhead, Lewis, White.
And just to chime in here, I would go Deion Lewis, Burkhead, White.
Okay. All right. And then Chris Hogan, we don't expect him to play. Brandon Cooks is really the viable option there. Danny Amendola, if you're in a PPR league and you need an emergency play, otherwise I don't have a lot of confidence in what's happening there with him right now.
Yeah, I mean, even in PPR, it's since there was this turn since week 6, he just has not been getting involved, and I mean playing sub 50% of the snaps. So I don't think he's that strong of an option even in a PPR.
Marshawn Lynch takes on New England. He's been an up and down player. He did have the big multi-touchdown performance recently. Is he a solid RB2 to you guys in this game? Darkwa or Lynch?
Yeah, I think in that situation.
Yeah is not an answer.
In that situation, I would go Lynch because there's going to be enough points scored here. You know, the hometown crowd in Mexico City will be for Oakland. And, you know, if I had to peg one of those two to get in the end zone, I would probably put the odds in Marshawn Lynch's favor.
Latavius Murray, we talked about him yesterday. Would you rather start Murray or Lynch?
I like Latavius Murray. I mean, he's my start of the week this week.
Wow.
No, do you like him or do you?
I would start.
Do you like him?
Oh, love. I love Latavius Murray.
Going back to the
Murray.
Going back to the archives?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to get a lay of the land with Lynch. Crabtree and Cooper, they're must-starts in this game. I think both can be heavily involved. Derek Carr, I think he's a streamable option. We expect what we know will happen is that New England will score points. And that is a nice place to be in where at that point you're just hoping that the Raiders' offense is functional and you don't get yourself into a low time of possession battle there. Gronkowski at the tight end position, just to let you know where he's at, 73 yards a game, best in the league. He's locked and loaded. And Jared Cook, that sneaky tight end play, 55.4 receiving yards per game, fourth best in the league. Patriots.
He's keeping it up.
Yeah, they'll give up some points to Jared Cook this week.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Jared Cook is a good play, and I'll throw more of a DFS play out there because I don't think you should pick him up and play him right now. But in this matchup with a lot of points, if you look at the snap percentages, Philip Dorsett's snap percentages were drastically up. They were well ahead of Danny Amendola's this last week, and you know that could be a sneaky stack, if you will, with a Philip Dorsett Brady.
Just open for a bomb touchdown.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The Eagles 8-1 take on the Cowboys. 48-point over-under in Dallas, 3.5-point underdogs, Dallas is. And you've got Wentz returning from the bye. Jay Ajayi, Mike, you have him as your start of the week.
Yeah, I love him.
Alshon Jeffrey should be a strong start in this game. And then Zach Ertz will be healthy and back on the field. All the weapons there for Philadelphia. We talked at length about the Dallas offensive line situation. Where do you put Alfred Morris in the scheme of things this week at the running back position?
It's a terrible week for Alfred Morris.
Yes,
I mean, it really is. It's, you know, I just talked about C.J. Anderson. You could see last week that the Eagles were going to be able to score. I expect the Eagles to win this game. Even with an MVP performance from Dak, I just don't see Cowboys coming up on top, which means it's going to be the game script to have Rod Smith more involved. Rod Smith outsnapped Alfred Morris last week. And while Alf is still the clear starter, he's the more valuable fantasy asset in my opinion. He does not have the skill set to be on the field when they're down. And so you have the first part of the game where, okay, you're going to be able to run Alf. You're going to want to establish that run, except you're going up against what could be the best rushing defense in the league.
Agreed.
And so that's not valuable. And then later in the game, he's not going to be able to be on the field if the game script works out where Dallas is down. So I don't really – I mean, Alf's a startable flex type of player, but I think you have to significantly lower. You know, he's going to be in that RB 20 to 30 range for me.
I was going to say we basically have him at the RB 29 in our consensus. I have him at 30. You guys have him 28, 29. So he's like barely a 3 and not somebody you want to bank on to win you this week. The other question I have, Nelson Aguilar, are you confident in starting him in this game? He was the, you know, the new hotness for a while.
Right.
I would actually be willing to play him. I mean, Dallas struggles against the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I think you can play him, but that new hotness has faded a decent bit. So
Jason Witten, start of the week. He's my start of the week at the tight end position. I think Dak's going to need help, and Jason Witten is.
Yes.
He's calling. You call 911, he picks up.
Yeah, when Chaz does not.
For the last 20 years, when Chaz does not.
Wait, guys. Okay,
Chaz hangs up the
this
phone.
is the time.
Chaz, why'd you cut the phone line?
I know it's happened 6-7 times. Got to believe in me.
I think what they should do is if Chaz has to come in and start, every play should just be a run to the right, just a quarterback run to the right.
That's what they did. Every run was to the right last week. It didn't work.
At this point, he should lay down horizontally
and make the guy have to jump,
and the guy at least has to leap over him.
Yeah, that's a good
idea.
idea.
I mean,
That's a great idea for them.
Just goes in like pony position.
Yes, there you go. Now he's got to go around or have a high jump. All right. We're giving tips to Chaz.
Poor Chaz.
Start like a GoFundMe for Chaz.
Well, for the left tackle in Dallas?
Yes.
GoFundMe. That would be rough, man. You've had a bad game and you're browsing the internet and you stumble across.
Help the Dallas left tackle position.
Oh, that's mean. All right.
Sorry, Brooks. I know you're a Dallas fan.
He's over there shaking his head. Fun Sunday night game. Fun Monday night game. The Falcons take on the Seahawks. This game's in Seattle. Any of this kind of emerging from the crypt that the Atlanta offense has been doing, it might get the pause button pressed on it here.
Maybe, but we got
no Richard Sherman.
Yeah, we don't know what to completely expect from Seattle because Richard Sherman, I believe this is the first game he will miss. And so
it is.
We've never seen Seattle in the past few years play without Richard Sherman, and he was a huge part of that defense because they knew that wherever he was, his side of the field, it's essentially locked down. And Cam Chancellor's not practicing. I mean, this Legion of Boom will not be booming.
That's the best you can come up with.
Hit me. I deserve it.
Yeah. the new fail drop.
Let's try.
I want to update a previous note here. A couple of reports about Leonard Fournette. As Brooks had astutely said, he didn't practice on Friday. So you've got 2 limited practices. Now he's got a DNP.
You have to be prepared.
You got to go grab.
And then
me, fellas.
Florida's Football Insiders just reported that his ankle is still not right. He could be very limited if he plays this week against the Browns.
Just need to go pick up Chris Ivory real quick.
So these are things we need to pay very, very close attention to.
And fab to.
And yeah, exactly. So it seems like things are trending in the bad direction. So be aware of that, guys. Other storylines from this game. Doug Baldwin, you're starting him. We talked about the running backs. Jimmy Graham's been great lately, a red zone threat. Is there anything else that we're looking at here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you nothing else to look at.
Paul Richardson, Tyler Lockett. You have to pick one.
I would pick Paul Richardson. He's just been more involved. He's the first target, and I don't think that this is the type of defense that's going to be able to focus on Paul Richardson. So I would pick him if I had to pick one.
Mike, are you currently in our leagues attempting to sign Chris Ivory?
We both are.
I said I needed a moment, fellas. Mind your business.
See, we don't just analyze fantasy football.
No.
We play, and we care, and we want to win.
How much fab do I have left?
This is bad news.
Hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to move on from the matchups, and we're going to use Mike's distraction to benefit us as we play a little draft.
The Daily Dose, brought to you by Draft.
Now, are we doing
This is a regular old every player's in the pool.
Yeah, we have the World Series of Fantasy taking place right now with Draft.
Everyone? Okay.
And so we've got everybody in the pool. I
was prepared for an expert league over here.
Well,
I thought I was dealing with experts, but okay.
Apparently not. So we're looking at I've got the first pick in this draft. Everybody on the board. And if you haven't played draft before, you can go to draft.com/ballers. Join in with us. You pick 5 players. You do a draft, a round-robin draft, and you face off week to week. And fortunately, if you don't want to have to start Leonard Fournette this week, you don't have to. You get a pick from the rest of the pool.
Leonard Fournette has killed me 2 different weeks in draft. I shall not. I'm going to pick up Chris Ivory just as my spite pick.
Nice. Nicely done.
Yeah, so I am about to go on the clock here with the #1 pick this week, and I'm actually having a hard time. Making a decision. Going to go with Kareem Hunt, #1 overall.
That's where I was hoping you would not go.
Those Giants. I feel safe there. By the way, who lost last week? Was that?
That was me.
That was Jason.
That was little Red Fournette.
Yeah, we know who lost. So, man, I'm debating between these wide receivers or just staying in the absolute unbelievable flames that is Mark Ingram. So I'm going to do that.
Well, if you have Mark Ingram, I'm going to go with the other side of the coin there.
You're going to jump in your Camaro.
I'm going to take that Camaro right to the top. Take Alvin
You're
Kamara
going to take the Camaro to the top?
of the mountain. You could drive a Camaro.
Is this a four-wheel drive Camaro?
It's a paved road on the mountain. Oh, I'm still on the clock. You have
excellent.
Foiled me.
You fell for my
foiled me.
trap.
Look, the New York Giants, they give up touchdowns
Dang it,
to
man.
the tight end. I'm taking Travis Kelce.
I really hoped your analysis was just the New York Giants, they give up touchdowns. That's it.
That's it.
That's the whole story. They like to give up
Mike's
the
on the
touchdowns.
clock.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not practicing. Yeah, but I like the Richard Sherman is out, so I'm going to take Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. All right, I got back-to-back picks here. I'm going to jump on Shady McCoy. I'm gonna jump back in there. I think he's going to just be heavily involved.
Okay.
And I just need to not finish last against you two knuckleheads. And then I'm going to go with Michael Thomas. I'm going to go Michael Thomas against Washington.
Got a lot
Got a
of
couple baseline guys here.
Saints coming off the board here.
I'm going to go with the guy that Jason wishes was passing through me, Mr. Three.
Like passing through you?
Yeah, as in I would. He would
Pass
go
on.
Like you're
I'm a
passing on
I'm
him?
a ghost, and he will go through my body.
Sure.
Mr. 3.7 himself,
Melvin
Gordon.
Oh, my goodness. You
get a root
drafted
for
Melvin
him.
Gordon. All right. Just because I've never done this in draft, and I would love
You're
to.
taking a kicker?
I am taking the first kicker ever in draft. Boom, boom, baby. No, I'm going wide receiverless. I'm going
you're going Gronk?
and Travis Kelce this week.
Interesting.
The matchups, I think, are going to be good enough. And I am still on the clock. Little Red Fournette is there. As
just pick him up.
you know, I'm going to go with the guy that I have spoke poorly of for a while. I'm going to pull a Mike here. He's going with his Melvin Gordon. I'm going Todd Gurley, even against Minnesota. Want the safe usage.
It's a tough matchup. All right, I'm deciding between a couple interesting players here at the wide receiver position, Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. I mean, we do have the big guys, you know, Hopkins and Green are there. Just do you believe? And I'm gonna stay with Golden Tate.
Well, I appreciate that,
and then
Mike.
I'm gonna put some floor on.
Because I'm going to grab Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Mike Evans, and I've only got one pick left, my quarterback position. And there's no way you guys are beating me this week. This game is over. I got Tom Brady against Oakland. It's impossible. My team's too good.
Very, very fair, but I will go Carson Wentz against Dallas.
I would like both of those players. So I've got yet to choose between Alex Smith and Russell Wilson.
Russell.
And I'm going to go with Russell Wilson at
Nice.
home against Atlanta.
Listen to this team, guys.
All right.
Tom Brady, Kareem Hunt, LaShawn McCoy, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans. Do you guys want to actually play the week out or just declare it right now?
Now, so you know,
Just so I win. That's official.
projections have you in last place.
Okay. That's not.
So we'll see.
Let me hear these teams.
All right, I've got Russell Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, Travis Kelce, and Gronk with the tight end double stack.
I'm going Carson Wentz, Mark Ingram, 3.7 Melvin Gordon, Julio Jones, and Golden Tate.
Stop. You're calling him 3.7 Melvin Gordon from now on?
I could call him Pi 3.14
Oh.
if you prefer that.
He's got to lose some yardage first.
Plus, Mike Tolbert is pie. All right. That is it for the Fantasy Footballers
He's the
podcast.
cannonball, man.
And, yeah, he's the bangerang guy from
Oh, yes!
You remember that?
I know exactly what
Hook.
you're saying.
From
Pull
Hook?
the legs up, bang-a-ring.
Yeah.
The guy that took over for Rufio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. The guy that took over. I wonder how he's doing.
Rufio?
No, the guy who took over. Rufio's dead, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
R.I.P.
He's not. He's decayed. He's not doing well at all.
He's just hair and skeleton
Yeah,
bones.
Mike. Way
Hey.
to bring up a sad memory for me.
Draft.com/ballers. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Rufio.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.